Hey, so welcome back to Check Game. I'm here with your boy Alvin Williams.
What's up, Fats? You know I'm here with you, right by your side, baby.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Let's just get into this episode 5, man. How your week been?
It's good, man. It's good. We figuring this thing out, this podcast thing out. We got some additions that I think our fan base, our viewers going to enjoy. We're not going to let it out the bag, but it's going good. The season's about to start, so I'm about to start moving around a bit, call a couple games. First exhibition game is against the Boston Celtics. So I'm prepping, getting my notes for that. So it's good, man. It's good. It's good to be back here with you, though, brother.
Yeah, it's an exciting time in sports. The baseball playoffs, the NBA starting, the NFL is in the middle of his league, so it's a real good time in sports. And you getting back to basketball, that's always exciting. I wanted to get into some issues that some of the fans have mentioned to me about our pod. The difference in you going to a private school, me going to a public school. I like for our audience to understand what your experience was being the only black kid in a white school. Not the only one, but just being a inner city kid going into a private school setting. How did that affect your life in a positive way, and how did that affect your life in a negative way, if you can?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's man. So going to Germantown Academy was a lot of people got a lot of different misconceptions and ideas about even how I ended up there. A lot of people think that I went there for sports, but my pop had a vision. You know my pop, Fats. He had a vision, and he used to always tell me like, I want to put you in an environment where these are people and this is an environment that you're gonna have to deal with at some point in your life. Who knows when? College, later in life, you're gonna have to be around white people, people from different ethnicities, different backgrounds, all of these things, religions, and that was an opportunity. GA afforded me that opportunity. I wasn't the only black kid there, but I was one of the few. And it was just one of those situations where my pop really wanted to put me in a different environment and put me and challenge me in a different way. Because also the neighborhood, even Mount Airy, people had their ideas about Mount Airy and stuff, but the neighborhood started changing to a degree. So a lot of the schools, they weren't providing, I think, for parents, the safety or just going through a neighborhood to get to another school, whether it was Leeds at the time or Ada Lewis or high school going to King. There was my neighborhood school. So that was just a part of the reason why I went to GA. It wasn't sports. I was paying full tuition, and
Mm-hmm.
Pop had to grind and pay full tuition. And at that time, and this is how far I go back, 1987, I think tuition was $5,000 a year.
Mm.
And it wasn't like it's like $40,000 now, but it's $5,000 a year, which is still a hump coming from a family where my sister was going to college. My other is five of us, so five of us in the household. So it was a challenge, dog. But it was something where I learned a lot, Fats. I learned a lot. I learned how I can challenge myself, and I learned how to be a different version of myself. So it was a good experience, man, overall.
Good. Just wanted to get some of your views on that because me going to public school, I went to Gratz, and it was just fairly all of my friends, everybody that I knew from the city. So that experience was more family oriented or friendly oriented. I knew everybody, and everybody knew me, and so I didn't have that experience you had of going to a private school where things are expected of you. Your parents need to be a certain way. You need to dress a certain way, and things like that. And there wasn't too many white people at my school. Maybe just the teachers. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that environment for me was cool because it was safe. It was everybody that I knew already. I just wanted you to kind of give some intake to our viewers on what that may have been like for you, being that you went to a private school, Germantown Academy, in a nice area. And how did it prepare you for college, or how did it prepare you for your next phase of life? What was the positives you took out of that?
It a lot of things. I got a lot of stories, man. So you talked about dressing. I remember the first day of school, dog. They had me on my Urkel, man. I had some gray, I had some gray slacks. I had a sweater vest and a white button-down shirt under that, and
Mm-hmm.
some brown bucks. They wasn't even BKs back in the day. They were BK British Knights. I don't know what these joints was I was had on my feet. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember going there totally uncomfortable, man. But I remember going to GA for my visit. So my visit, I was in sixth grade going there, and I remember going on campus for the first time, and I saw people sitting outside under the tree reading, sitting outside eating lunch. I ain't never see this. I went to FS Edmonds right down the street from my house, like you said. You knew everybody, your friends, everybody went there. My sisters went there, so I was comfortable there. But I went to the school. I was like, damn, man, we still lining up to go to the bathroom, to go to recess at Edmonds. Here, everybody's just, they free. And I remember walking on campus, and I remember going there with my parents. I remember there talking to the administration. I was like, if I get accepted here and pass this test, I'm coming here. And I never forget the very first day of school, Fats, I cried like a baby. I remember crying like a baby. My mom did not want me to go because our family was giving her pressure on the other side. Like, why he going to school with the white people or going to school in that neighborhood? Why are you paying money to go to school somewhere? You can get a free education here. But my pop had a vision again. I remember that first day crying. And my mom came to my room and was like, what you crying for? I said, I don't want to go to school with these white people. Never forget that. And my mom was like, go tell your dad. Bingo. You're going to go over to Leeds. That's where she wanted me to go. You going to Leeds. I was like, I told my pop, thinking I was going to get out of school. He's like, are you kidding me? I remember him bringing me, my mom, and my two sisters down. And that's the first time I heard sneak thieves. He's like, y'all a bunch of sneak thieves. And I'm like, what's a sneak thief? Y'all sitting around talking behind each other back, not standing up to each other's face. If you got a problem with it, say it, address it, tell me what your issues are. Don't go and tell your mom something, and you told me something different the other day. So he brought that thing, and he's like, you going to school, and I don't want to hear that white person talk. I don't want to hear none of that. You going to school, and they put me in my Urkel outfit, and I went to school that day, dog. And that was like the part of my pop really standing up. And I told you about, he used to always say, yo, don't embarrass me. Because now I understand my mom was giving him pressure. Don't send him to school. Financially, he was struggling. My pop had to start doing a security job at the Andorra McDonald's. That McDonald's was popping because there was a movie theater right there. But my pop took a night shift job and worked there outside of his DEA job. So he really sacrificed a lot for me to be in that situation. So I was going to leave that school every year, Fats. Every year because of academics, because of socially, and because of the finances. But we stuck with it as a family. Everybody sacrificed. My sisters sacrificed. They compromised their schedules. They had to pick me up from school. They had to drop me off from school. They had to go to get. They had to do all these different things. So everybody really invested in me, dog. That's why I always felt it was pressure on me to make sure I performed and stayed with it, because a lot of people changed their lifestyle just because I went to that school, and that was my pop's vision. So that was a lot, man. But there's a lot, man, that I would like to touch in on that environment, because a lot of people think they can send their kids to a private school and think it's all good. You go to private schools, you get exposed to the most things that you've never been exposed. I was exposed to my first hand-to-hand drug deal. They used to take it. No, I can't even tell because, well, yeah, I'm gonna tell because I ain't in it. I remember they used to take the highlighters, yellow highlighter, pink highlighter, green highlighter, take the filter out and put the weed in there. And they would pass them out like that. That's how they sell them. The yellow might be 10, Nick, whatever that is. And they used to sell them like that, dog. They used to sell them like that. And I'm like, damn, my mom and them think that it's safe here. First time I was exposed to sex. First time I was exposed to girls doing things. And I'm like, damn, man, I'm in sixth, seventh grade. So I was exposed to a lot. And if it wasn't for certain things and certain support from that school, I could have went off the wrong, because my parents didn't know. They ain't know none of that. And I wasn't coming back telling them. But the school really helped and supported me to get through a lot of those things and some of those experiences that I was exposed to. So you can't just send your kid to a private school and think it's all good, think they're safe, think they got the best education, think they're around the best people because they're a different race or they're white. As Black people, we had to realize, man, we deserve that same type of education. We deserve that same type of infrastructure. We deserve that same type of safety. Like we deserve those same resources. So we don't have to act like we're being better because we go to those schools. We supposed to be right where we're supposed to be when you're in them situations. Just got to adjust to it and make sure we play accordingly and understand we are worth that.
No, I feel that, and I'm glad you share that, because I'm sure there's a lot of that going on now with the way basketball is expanding. High school kids are going to different prep schools, different academy schools, charter schools now. It's a lot of that going on where inner city kids are now being accepted into these private schools due to the athletic ability. But there's a confusion there where you're taking a Allen Iverson per se to put him into that environment. It's just good for you to touch on that so people can feel that and understand that putting the child from that urban setting into that private school setting doesn't always equal fast success, because that child is going to hinder some different experiences, and you get exposed to a lot of things. And when you said you was exposed to a lot, what I know could hurt people is you send your child to a private school and he's barely making it. The other kids in there, their parents got a lot of money, so there's some stress right there. You know what I mean? Taking a kid from the urban setting because he can play, and you putting them with children who parents own 500, Fortune 500 companies. That's your child to be exposed to a lot when the kids say, "Hey, come over my house for dinner," and the urban kids like, this, it's just a lot for an urban kid to take in without some knowledge or someone like you sharing that story to kind of tell somebody what you went through going from Lee's up to Germantown Academy. So I'm glad you was able to spill a little bit of that.
But also too, Fed, you're 100% right. The discrepancy between where I came from a financial situation, family structure tight, probably tighter than a lot of the people that I went to school with. But the financial situation, my pop had a 1971 Cadillac, Coupe de Ville.
I say, huh?
And yeah, they used to call that joint a Batmobile. I used to be so embarrassed going to that school. People pulling up with Porsches, Jags, and I got this long ass funeral car dropping me off. And my mom had the Thunderbird with the steering wheel on backwards. Then we had a Vega. I'm like, come on, I'm gonna just take the cheese. But you say that because you're 100% right, dog. But I will say, when I was at Germantown Academy, to a degree, I was accepted. Also because I didn't go for sports. Although I was black and you might look at me like he must be here for basketball or football, I didn't go for that. It was a sense that I realized that no matter what, I had to play at least 2 sports because I had to earn those credits. But academically, when I was struggling, my mom and pop, they took me up. They was trying to take me off the team. But then the school would provide the resources. The school would make sure I would not fail. The school would make sure I would not struggle to a degree. But I remember you talk about going over somebody's house. A buddy, Jim Keehan, and he's from Roxborough. Went over his crib, man. First time, his mom made us steak-em cheesesteaks. And first time I had milk with my cheesesteak. I was like, what the hell is this, man? It ain't got no Kool-Aid and nothing, dog. I'm not trying to eat no cheesesteak with no milk. But then the next day we had such a good time. I didn't think I was going to really, I didn't know. Jim was cool in school, but we played ball. We had the same interest, football. He was a hell of a football player. He was a hell of an athlete. Then he was like, yo, you want to spend a night? I was like, yeah, I'll spend a night. Call my mom and dad. They a little hesitant because they don't know. I said, I'll spend a night. He said, hey, we got to go to church tomorrow. I said, man, I only got a sweatsuit. I ain't got no suit. Because, going to Baptist church, you getting dressed up. He's like, no, you ain't got to wear that. First time going to a Catholic church. Catholic church is about 15, 20 minutes long. I had a sweatsuit on, the same stuff I was playing the day before I was wearing. So I was exposed to a Catholic church and just a different way of living. And he was real cool. And my man LT, who was really like my first big brother, I met him at GA, black guy. He was black, but he was good in sports too, but he kept it real. And he had some experience coming from Roxborough and things like that with some of these guys. But he was a guy that really held me down all the way till he graduated. He was a year ahead of me, but he graduated. We played on the same team together. And he was like a big brother to me, dog, because he really exposed me to some of these things. But to your point, going to these houses. Another story, my man Bradley Cooper. He big famous Hollywood star now, but his dad used to come pick me up, take us to the Phillies game. This is before my dad started working for baseball. He'd take us to the Phillies game, take me down to Pat Steaks. I go over Brad house. We kicking it. Nice dude, great family. And then later on in life, he becomes who he becomes, but it's still a resource. It's still a network. But his family took me in. So Germantown Academy, they did a hell of a job as well as they could to really support those things and help me to be exposed and all of these things. But again, it was the family dynamic that I really was like, I can't let them down because everybody's sacrificing for me. And to your point, dog, these kids, now they're going to these schools, but a lot of them are going to these schools for sports. You don't know how many times I hear a parent say, now I'm going to take my kid out and send them somewhere else. And not saying anything to discredit inner city schools or Philadelphia public schools. But when you do go to those private schools, you can't just go for sports. You can't. Because the experience that you receive outside of sports, exposure, resources, networking, challenges, preparation for college and the next phase of life, a lot of these schools provide that, especially from a young black male coming from the inner city, that we wasn't exposed to no other way.
Yeah, shout out to Bradley Cooper. I remember you telling me about that out in Toronto one time. You had mentioned we watched one of his movies, and you had mentioned something like that. But it's sort of like the experience with me, you, in Toronto. Like I had some experience with travel through grads, and I was able to go to college in California, so I had some travel, which was fine. But the level of lifestyle you had exposed me to in Toronto, that wasn't like going to private school, but that was going to like a higher level in life, and I had to conduct myself away and be responsible with this opportunity. And I wasn't aware of the way your behavior was. You would take me out to dinner every night. I remember telling you, like, I don't go out to eat this much. I'm like, like, this is not my lifestyle. We got to get junk food. We got to get something like on my schedule. Snack man. And we'll get into that story where I bought all the snacks and came home one night, and guess who had all my snacks?
In fact, you got to stop eating all this, man. This ain't good for you. Hey, yo, Al, you seen my cake? Yeah, get into that.
No, no, I mean, just saying, like, that adjustment. Well, when I got to Toronto, I had a high-end vehicle. You had me in a 5-star hotel, and we had high-end restaurants every night. And I was realizing I had to uplift myself and recognize what's going on around me is more important. The way people were treated, the way people engaged, and it was just a different experience from me coming from where I came from. You got me right out of the projects when you picked me up, so it was really cool. And it was a wake up too, to like realize where I'm at in life and see what's really going on in the millionaires' life. I mean, I'm around you and that team, so it's quite a few people that's got lots of money in that environment. But yeah, we had a good time with that, and that felt like that. Not that I was going to private school per se, but I was going somewhere where I needed to clean up my act, and you know what I mean. I was going on your ride, and I needed to straighten myself up. So I felt like that experience compares to your experience in private school of me getting around this class of people that's new to me, and I'm learning how to behave myself in this class, and try to keep my thing intact,
Yeah, and it's very similar because one thing I think, well, I know both of us, we never compromised ourselves. We never forgot where we came from. We never left where we came from. We never just went on a different route. And that was always critical, and that was always something my pop told me. But we could put ourselves in any room and conduct ourselves in any manner and be around anybody and still be who we are and add value to anything. And I think back, and this is how real that is. And, once we made the decision to move to Toronto together, I always told you, I'm not going to change who you are. I'm not going to stop. This is all I'm asking you not to do, dog. I'm asking you not to do these things, dog, and let's move forward. And that same year, we out with the owner of the team at a hockey game. I'm never shying away, and Fats, me and you just cool when we going out and partying, but I'll be right back. I gotta go to the hockey game with the owner. No, you coming to the hockey game with us. Me and Mr. Tannenbaum. Yes, bring your cousin. Let's go. And Larry Tannenbaum accepted you. Everybody else, me and Vince gonna hang out. I'll be back. Fats, you stay here. No, you coming with me and Vince. It got to a point where if somebody saw me without you or saw you without me, yo, where's such and such? Because I'm not experiencing nothing that I'm not going to expose you to. And that's just the way it is. I'm not going to do that. And with that being said, you deserve every right because you conduct yourself. You're intelligent. You handle yourself. You're a real person. I don't want to be around nothing less than that. And the people I'm around don't want to be nothing less than that. So you got to give yourself credit, Fats, because what you brought to the table, and we always said it, people always say, Al, you looking out for your cousin. Da-da-da. No, we had a lot of deep conversations regarding where we were, where we from, our disagreements, our agreements, and we made sure we kept each other sharp. And that was that we helped each other both out as much as the other helped you out. I helped you, you helped me, and we complimented each other beautifully, dog. And we still do, but a lot of people has that misconception that, you know what I mean, Fats riding on his coattail, Fats driving that car, his cousin must got, Fats lived there, his cousin. No, it ain't, it was never that. It was never that. It was always, and it is always a connection, and it's a reason why we are who we are still to the day with each other.
It's good for you to share that with our viewers to make them understand how to keep that relationship intact like that. But I appreciate you saying that. And you touched on us hanging out at dinner with the Tannenbaums. And that was a huge night. I want to shout out to him, to Mr. Tannenbaum, because my hair was braided that night, and I was dressed more like a street guy that night. And Mr. Tannenbaum, at one point, he stopped talking to you, switched seats, and sat with me, Al.
Yep.
And I just want to applaud Mr. Tannenbaum for erasing any stereotype that may have been on him, because he was with the star player, and in the middle of the game or whatever that was, he switched seats with Al, and he thought he wanted to spend 10 to 15, 20 minutes and just talk to me about whatever I wanted to talk about. And I thought that was real important, and that was cool. And that was another thing of you lifting me up. You got me at dinner with the owner of the Raptors, and that was exactly what you said. Like how you take care of me, I take care of you. It's just a great relationship, and all the things you have exposed me to, and maybe some of the conversations I've had with you have helped you out in ways. You know what I mean? So it's definitely just a good mix. It's a good time when we and you together always, because there's no fake. We honest, and we both got each other's best interests. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is how real Mr. Tannenbaum is, Larry Tannenbaum, and people could, he's the man. He's the man, right? He's the man in more ways than, we talk about financial or his status. But I remember when my dad was sick and he found out, my dad knew Mr. Tannenbaum before I did through baseball. When my dad was working at baseball and he'd be in Toronto a bit. But when my dad got sick, I remember it was after a game and he came to my locker, was like, hey, I want you to take my jet and go see your dad. My dad was just coming out of bypass surgery. And he gave me the jet.
So the owner gave you the jet?
He gave me the jet to go see my dad. My dad, right out of surgery, I go to see my dad. He's still in the hospital. He coming out of anesthesia, still all on him. He's like, yo, did y'all win tonight? I was like, nah, we lost. Man, y'all stink. And I remember I spent about 15 minutes with him because he was still drugged up, but I had to get back. Took the jet back that same night, flew back. And he would do that throughout the season because my dad had a lot of ailments that year. And throughout the season, he would find out some way that my dad, because I wasn't telling nobody, and he would make sure I got home to see my dad. So he was huge on family, and he appreciated, and I think he really valued the fact that how I was tight with my parents and my family, and he always acknowledged that. So Mr. Tannenbaum, in so many different ways, he helped my career and helped me out as a person in a lot of ways that a lot of people wouldn't do that. But again, we was exposed to that. You know what I mean? We was exposed to that early on, and I learned in different ways, going back to the Germantown Academy, different ways how to interact with other races, how to interact with white people. It goes even interracial dating, like having those pressures on interracial dating where you come from an all-black neighborhood, you come from a household where that's not normal. And I remember having a girlfriend in high school, and I remember July 4th, Fats, July 4th. I know I told you the story. We go somewhere like Valley Forge because I want to be proud, but I'm nervous. It's around the time I think Jungle Fever then came out. So you got a lot of these movies, Public Enemy in full force. Like, I mean, it ain't cool for me to be doing what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. My chest out, I'm doing it. But I remember one day she's like, can we go see the fireworks? I was like, yeah. We go up to Valley Forge, somewhere up here. She's like, no, I want to go down to off the drive. Kelly Drive, the Parkway. Huh? Nah, I ain't. Are you embarrassing me? No, never. I think you're embarrassing me. You know what? Let's go. So I go down there. We go down there. Get a little blanket, sit outside. And I never forget. Old head walked by me, took a double take. Well, goddamn, salt and pepper. Hey, dog. And I just remember, I was like 16, dog. I was like, God damn, man, we can't go nowhere. I remember flipping like, can't go nowhere. Da, da, da. But Germantown, being exposed to that, like, you got to be true to yourself. People going to criticize you. People going to have their own opinions, their doubts. But you got to live your life for yourself, man. And you taught me that. You taught me a lot of times when I had a lot of pressure. Hey, yo, Al, you got to take care of that little guy inside you, dog. That little guy inside you first is who you got to take care of, because you won't be able to take care of everybody else if you don't take care of him first. So, like I said, a lot of things came from a lot of lessons came from GA and things that we hung out together. But yeah, called us salt and pepper, dog. Called us goddamn salt and pepper.
Yeah, so like you said, I would tell you, take care of yourself. And I think that's important, especially like in anybody's life, like not just you or me, but that's how I roll. You can't lead the blind. And I got relatives that I speak to, and a lot of us humans always trying to take care of the next person. But I'm a firm believer that if you can't zip your own jack, you know, like they tell you on the airplane, put your mask on first before you help somebody out. You know what I mean? Like you got to get yourself together before you start extending help. And I don't mean you can't give a little bit of help somewhere if you can, but I'm a firm believer in taking care of yourself first, making sure you got a little bit of extra, and then you could provide for somebody else. So you said that I would tell you all the time, take care of yourself. And again, that's our relationship. Like you said, people wouldn't know. Fats advised me, Fats take care of me. Like it's too much to even get into, but you know enough that it wasn't just, like you said, a one-sided relationship where it's just I'm on the sideline taking from Al financially because you had the upper hand. Like you said, I provided some other things that was probably more valuable than at finance at the time. You know what I mean?
No doubt about it. And a lot of people, they get misconceptions again, man. And there's people out there, athletes, that have 4 and 5 Fats, have 6, 7 people that was living with them and having to do things like that. And those relationships go sour. Expectations are so high. People grow apart. And it's a challenge for any athlete to really have to endure those type of expectations or those pressures. So it's critical for young people in general, to make sure their circle is tight. Make sure, as Mr. Kitchen used to tell me, my man, Mr. Kitchen, everybody that comes to your birthday party is not a well-wisher. They just want a piece of the cake. So you got to identify those people. Sometimes it takes a short amount of time. Sometimes people never figure it out. But at the end of the day, when you start surrounding yourself and you start maturing enough to a degree where you got to make decisions for not just yourself now, you got to be in a point where you making decisions for your household, for your extended family. And I told you before, being a pro athlete, for all these young people that's out here, that's what they aspire to be, that never stops. That job never stops. When you lay your head down in the bed, you're still a pro athlete. When you wake up in the morning, you're a pro athlete. When you go to the street, down the street, get yourself some gas, you're a pro athlete. It ain't no time off. And it's all about how you manage that to keep yourself grounded and level-headed enough where you can still be the best version of yourself. But again, I know the viewers probably tired of us, how much we got appreciation for each other. But one thing I can never overemphasize, it was never just a one-way street with us. It was never just take, give. It was mutual, and it continues to be mutual from different levels.
Yo, so I wanted to ask you about the transition after sports, after the lights is out, after you know, when you decide, all right, I think it's over with, you know, it's causing me too much pain, and then the experience of coming from the court, being a star, being catered to, you got doctors around you all day, the restaurants recognize you when you come in, the city recognizes you when you come in. What's the transition like when your last day of sport or your last day of pro, and you going to turn into this new situation? If you don't mind getting into that for a few audience, that would be cool.
Yeah, it's tough. That transition tough. This is what I breathe for a long time. And in Toronto, they took a liking to me because I would say repeatedly, man, I die on this court. I remember my coach, Walker D. Russell, hey Al, take time off, man. Take time off. Your knees swelled up. I can't take practice off because I was the type of player. I wasn't I wasn't the type of player that could take a practice off and still get busy on the court. I felt psychologically I had to work hard in practice in order to have my rhythm in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So taking the practice off was going to do more damage than it did help me in
Mm-hmm.
my mind. So I wouldn't take that time off. But when I realized when it all came to an end, you start wishing you did things a little different, right? Like maybe I should have taken a couple games off and a couple days
Mm-hmm.
off and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that transition facts outside of, well, I think, well, for me it all hit. That's when my daughter, my firstborn, was just born. Um, I was having marital issues and my career was over due to injury. It wasn't that I made a decision that I wanted to stop. I had to stop. I was forced to stop. So my life, when I went to sleep because I had to get up for a game. When I got up in the morning because I had a game. So now I don't have anything to do. Why do I need to go to sleep? I don't have nothing to do tomorrow. Why do I need to get up? I don't got nothing to do for the rest of the day. Why do I need to watch what I'm eating? Because I don't have nothing to do. Man, I can have an extra drink now. I can get tipsy tonight and tomorrow night. I don't have nothing to plan for. I don't really have to take care of my knee because I'm not playing no more. So my lifestyle starts spiraling to a point where everything that I had in place because of these things is not there no more.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's when the discipline and the focus really had to kick in. And fortunate enough, again, family really supported me, man. Family supported me. People was around me that helped me through that process. But it was a tough process. And I didn't get over it until maybe 7 to 8 years after I said I wasn't playing. And that's when I got a job as an assistant coach with the Toronto Raptors, thanks to Jay Triano, who was a coach of mine and who brought me back. And it's hard to get back in the picture of the NBA and pro sports, but he got me back in there, got me back with some purpose in life, and that was where I catapulted to. I have to do more. I can't
Mm-hmm.
just sulk. I can't just be sorry for myself. I can't do that. And I think back when Cat was diagnosed with his heart issue and he had to retire, and I remember being there for Cat during those times where he had to go to the doctors and he had to do all these things, talking about Catino Mobley. And I wasn't going to let a friend of mine ever feel lonely, ever feel lonely. And as at times I felt lonely. I felt lonely at times. So I never wanted nobody else to have that feeling. But it was tough, Fats, that transition. But that transition is tough for anybody to go through anything that dedicated their lives and sacrificed almost everything and it coming to an end.
It's good
What
for
did
you.
you notice though? Did you notice any different? Do you notice any changes us being around?
I felt like when it first happened, I was with you going through the process, so I seen a view of it wearing down on you emotionally. You don't talk that much about it, but it was just draining you emotionally. You couldn't do something no longer that you loved. You was sitting on the sidelines a bit more than you normally would. Um, you always quiet, but I could sense that uh sorrow, or I don't know how to word it, but I could sense you sulking, or like realizing I'm not playing anymore. And we got home, and it seemed everything was fine because you were financially cool, so it wasn't like you were stressing to get back to work or anything. But I feel like we hanged out more. We started going to the club more or drinking more. Like,
Yeah.
um, so all of that happened. And then at some point you straightened it back up and got back on your job and like, all right, enough of this party and let's get back to work. But um, I'm glad you was able to share that because there's plenty of players that's going through what you went through. And I think it's cool for you to let them know some of the curves you may have faced coming out of that lifestyle, because that's I remember one time you told me you missed the smell of popcorn and when you hit the arena.
Mhm.
And I can only imagine what that feels like when that's your regular cologne. You know what I mean? You hit an arena and that's just in there, the popcorn and the movement, the setting up of the court, the floor, you know what I mean? All this action is going on every day. And now it's not there anymore. That's a big jump, like and for a human entertainment. To be an NBA player and to be assisted the way you guys are assisted through travel, through hotel, through team, through the organization, when you're not a part of that organization anymore, that special treatment, the jets that you can get to your pop house, and the doctor that's in the locker room with you. There's so many things you guys have access to when you're a part of the organization, and when you're not a part of the organization anymore, there's a lot stripped away from that athlete.
Got to start from scratch. That Martin episode when they had the DMV, start from scratch. And when the hell is scratch? You guys, it's funny you mentioned that popcorn, dog, because I think about it. It's like that fragrance or that person that you're close to. My daughter, she went back to school, and I still go in her room, and I can smell her scent. I can smell her, and that make you miss her even more. So it's that time when that popcorn was, you said, that's your cologne. That was something when you got it, you don't even smell it on you. But when it ain't, you be like, damn, man. And I never realized that. That what made me, I look back and I was like, damn, and tell young people now, enjoy the moment. Because when I was there, I'm just supposed to be here. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But when it's not there, you be like, damn, man. You know, people was lining up to see the Raptors play or see this game or see this person, and you was a part of that. So I never really got a chance to enjoy that and appreciate it in the moment until it was gone. And then you start sharing stories. That's when you hear people start to embellish some of these stories. They were better than they were, and they make all these stories up. But to your point, when it's all over and you sitting in there, hey, Alan Fats, even though you was the man, so we get in front anyway. But Alan Fats, y'all come up front. And I'm not playing. I'm in the back. No, you can't come in there with sneakers. You can't come in there with boots. No, you go to the doctor's office. Yeah, we can see you in 2 months. Huh? I'm used to being seen as soon as I go in there. So those calls is not answered. And the longer you wait out, it takes longer and longer for those calls to be returned. It was a time where people call you. They calling you all day. Then it goes into work where you got to call somebody and they pick right up. Time fades. They don't pick up on the first ring. I got to call you back. They don't call back. Now you at the phase like, damn, ain't nobody calling me back. What the hell? Like, you start really seeing the reality of all of this shit, man. Like, it's crazy, dog. So it's a phase psychologically, and that's why young people you can't get lost. Don't let basketball be who you are. You got to have value off the court. Because as soon as you off the court, you're going to feel like I ain't got no more value. I'm not a ball player no more. So continue to create that value and that understanding. Don't get lost in who you are. Don't just be a basketball player. Be more than that. So when basketball is over, that transition is not as hard. It's going to be hard, but it's not as hard because you don't have to second guess yourself.
Well, I like that you mentioned the piece of going from the guy that everyone's calling, right? Ow. For years, can I get a ticket? Can I get a drink? Can I get a meal? Ow, can I hang with you? Ow. And athletes, young athletes, listen to this. It goes from ow to the owl is out of the NBA, and now owl's waiting on a call from somebody. And that person now acts like owl can wait a minute. It's just, that's a whole turnaround of events where, due to fame, due to sport, due to notoriety, people behavior in the beginning is completely different at the end of this trip. So in the beginning of this trip, kid, if you get drafted and you in there and you hot and everybody's calling your phone, just be careful about who comes around. Because if you take all of the people that call you in the beginning, it's probably going to be about 7 of them that's going to call you when you're done playing basketball. So I'm glad you shared that. At a time in your life, it was ow, and then it went from ow, like, hey, yo, well, I need a favor from you, and then I'll get back to you. Like, what? You know, you ain't gonna get back. That's not how it works. Normally, you jump right through the phone and get me done what I need done. Yep. But it's good for you to share that with the viewers. That in the beginning of this journey, there's a lot of people that want to get on that ride and trust it from a NBA player like Alvin Williams. At the end of that ride, there's not going to be that same group of people there with that same love and affect, rooting for you, pushing you to, to still have your back at the same rate they did when you was on that floor. It's not going to be like that,
Yeah. It's funny. I was watching Steve Harvey one time, and he was just telling the story. It was not long ago. He was talking about his dad when his dad passed, that was probably the last time he heard, or that was the last time he heard someone tell him that they were proud of him. And then he also said his dad was the only man that actually wanted him to be better than who he was, right? They wanted Steve Harvey to be better than him. And I say that to my son now because it's a real thing. Like, everybody can be on your side, but nobody really wants you to excel to that degree where you're succeeding and you're passing them. They want to be along with you, or they want to be above you. And it's hard to find those people. So once you do find those people and you guys can grow together, and I will say that my circle, and we all had disagreements, and we have, everybody grow and do their own things. But for the most part, man, people that I've attached myself to, or I've been close to, close family members, friends, it's been tight enough where we can stay connected and I can still grow with them and be a part of their lives, and they could be a part of my lives and my kids' lives, and we could be close. So it is important to identify those group of people that can still be there for the good times as well as the bad times, because those bad times are going to come. You're going to have more bad times. It's going to be good times. And those bad times, you got to make sure those people are around that can support you. That's where that GA, you talk about a transition, Fats. I had a buddy of mine, Ron Gonen, and he lived in New York, and he was somebody I went to GA with. And when I finished playing basketball, I was looking to get into the business world, financial, help athletes out financially in their career and the transition with all of these things. And he would meet with me maybe once a week in New York. I would catch a train up there or drive up there, take his time out from his busy schedule, and help me really formulate and structure something that can start a business. And he gave me a lot of sharp ideas. He gave me a lot of things. But this is somebody I was a GA with since 7th grade. He was a swimmer, water polo, but he helped me, man. Like, he truly helped me, and somebody I probably didn't talk to in 20 years. But that GA experience, there's resources. That's what I say. It's not just about sports at GA. It's about those other things that you got to get from them situations. So it was real important going back to transitioning, and then that Germantown Academy experience.
Before we get out of here, I want to touch back on that, because I'm all about the kids. Anybody that know me, they know I love the kids, and I wish kids to do well. So I wanted to step back on that piece that you mentioned. When you go to college, or you get the opportunity to get outside, it's not just for basketball. You can meet a Bradley Cooper. You just never know who you can meet if you step outside the box and allow yourself to meet people, open yourself up in a safe environment, of course. But I love that you were able to share that with our viewers. The prize is not just only in basketball. The prize could be just in relationships. Your roommate could be CEO of a 500 company in the next 4 years. Your roommate could be Mark Zuckerberg. You just never know, especially at that age. And like you said, going to GA, you don't have the idea that 20 years from now it's going to matter that I went to school with Bradley Cooper. It's not, you don't go in with that mindset. You go in just, this is school. But with the lesson I'm trying to get to the kids is that there's hidden gems in those years of being in them environments. You know what I mean? Same with you having me in Toronto. I'm still friends with Lennox Lewis guy, Tony Cruz. I'm still cool with Mona Halem. Like, there's a lot of contacts I got just from being with you in Toronto that serves me still today. And it's the people that I can still call on today and say, hey, X, Y, Z, Z, Y. But the lesson I wanted to touch on was that it's not just basketball in there. There's a lot more relationships, knowing people, being kind to people, allowing people to be kind to you. And I'm just a big advocate for that, because it has done me well in my life. It has served me really well to get out and had experience to go out and meet people. And it wasn't for basketball for me. It was just merely the experience of life, you know?
Yeah, and using, you hear back in the day, they used to tell us, don't let basketball use you. You use it. And again, if I didn't make it to the NBA, and I truly believe, if I didn't make it to the NBA, going to Germantown Academy, and let's just say I was what my major was, an elementary school teacher. I was an elementary school teacher at my elementary school, FS Edmonds, and nobody heard from me at all. People probably say that was the worst decision. I can't believe he sacrificed all that money. He did all this, and for what? He could have went to Edmonds, he could have went to Leeds and went to King and did all that. But again, people take the idea of me going to the NBA. Germantown Academy did not help me go to the NBA directly. And that gave me a gym. It gave me things to do where I could go and play. But more so, Sonny Hill League, John Arnett, Calvin
Mm-hmm.
Lewis, people like that helped me. Now, I had a great high school coach and Jim Finnerty, and he helped me so much. He passed away. His family is my family. He was there on every recruit visit. Everything step by step. Coach Finnerty was a big time part, a big time peg in my life. But Germantown Academy, the school, they gave me more than basketball. It was so many other people, other pillars in the community that helped me get to the NBA. But those things can't be lost. That vision can't be lost. You can still be, it's not how much money you got. It's not what you do in life that identifies success. And I tell young people that, I tell my kids that. You define how you want to be successful. It don't
Mm-hmm.
mean you gotta have the most money. It don't mean you gotta have the most big things. It don't mean you gotta be the most prestigious or the most noted person in the world. Maybe your success level is what you say, Fats. I love helping these kids out, man. I love providing opportunity. I love being able to sit and talk and give them resources or whatever for their growth. So I never want people to think that, yeah, he went to GA, he went to private school, and he made it to NBA. Nah, that ain't how it worked. And my whole reason and what to go to GA was my father's vision. If you gave me the option, I would have left GA. However many years I was there, I would have left every year.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just one of those things where not losing sight. To your point, going to these schools is so much bigger than basketball. I gained so much knowledge, and I interacted with so many different people, and I learned so much how to deal with different environments, different situations, how to conduct myself, and then also never lose sight of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Always know who I am and never compromise in that. Going to a prestigious school like Germantown Academy, or you can go to Episcopal or Malvern or Haverford or Pinchot, like all these schools. No, I had a strong family support, the great school that helped me along with some of the challenges, and then I had great people around me that helped me get to where I wanted to get to, and still to today.
Well, they've done a wonderful job, man. You're still going. You're now announcing in the NBA for the same team you played for. So it don't seem like you missed a beat, man. I'm happy to be here working with you. I hope you're having a good day today. And
Oh man, it's a great day. Great day here working with you.
I think that'll wrap out our episode 5 of Check Game. And we got some more things coming up, y'all. We got a sports show coming. We got some other stuff coming up that we're going to introduce to our audience, and hopefully you guys will be a part of this soon.
Hey, Fats, real quick, I like to get a shout out at the end as former teammates that I love to give acknowledgement to, but I'm going to pivot a little bit. I've been seeing Allen Iverson, and he has a memoir coming out. If it's out already, I'm sorry if it isn't, but I'm definitely going to pick that up, and everybody else pick that up. But he's acknowledging a lot of things, man, and he just announced 6 months of sobriety, and he's really talking about his life and some of the challenges and what he's been up to. Me and AI we bumped heads since college, Georgetown, Villanova, then playing in the pros, and I would say he got the best of me. He got the best of me, but with that being said,
it wasn't only you.
yeah, no, everybody. But that's how I can say it. But I'm so proud of him, man. And if he ever get his ears on this and his eyes on this, I love you to death, man. I'm proud of you. You've been an inspiration, and it's hard for a peer to be an inspiration, but you've been an inspiration for a long time, and you're even more of an inspiration now. Accepting your challenges, moving forward, man, it's going to help a lot of people, as well as myself, to move forward with some of these challenges. So, Bubba Chuck, man, I love you, dog. Continue doing what you're doing and continue being an inspiration to this world, because you've been that for a very, very long time. Much love, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I got mad love for him too. I heard that, but mad love for Allen Iverson. I respect what he's doing. Always been a big fan of him, and we should wrap up episode 5, and we'll be here again next week.
Yes, sir.
All right, Al. Catch you later.
No doubt.